Blondie here. Say goodbye to Hyrule. I'm sure that Ganondorf would love another crack at Hyrule, but he's not the destroyer of worlds this time. I am. This island is my love letter to Ocarina of Time, a game so dear to my heart that it challenges OSTs and Brisket for top spot. So, why am I destroying it? 1. The island is small and I had to compromise space and design choices, which resulted in areas that didn't meet my vision. I suppose I could have persevered, but it wasn't fun trying to squeeze square pegs into round holes. 2. I want to try something new. I wanted to do other island themes, and there was a group of people that did a really clever mystery island utilizing documents and video and Google Drive, which I wanted to explore and expand on too. The potential for storytelling here has barely scratched the surface. This island took a lot of time to craft. I was up early most mornings and worked late many evenings to research and try and make my vision a reality. I enjoyed the process, and seeing footage of Hyrule brought back fond memories. I'm sad to be moving on, but also excited for the next project. So, here we are. The original plan was to make the island as authentic to Ocarina of Time as possible. As soon as reality slapped my chops, I decided to have some fun with it. Like giving Link a flex area, only really missing a Brokill mirror. Kokiri and Lost Forest area was both the beginning of my island transformation and my eternally doomed struggle. Cogent convivial curiosity called, courteous, kind, capricious. What the fuck? Do trees get vertigo? Why don't they go next to a cliff? I redesigned this area a number of times. First off, it was a large grove of trees which opened up into Kokiri Forest. I didn't like the tree spacing, so I deforested and started again, this time elevating the boundary and planting trees along it. Kind of like the view you get from the Lost Forest from Hyrule Field. This looked better-ish, in the same way that slapping wool on a pig makes it look more like a sheep. I kept it anyway, it seemed like the best solution. The Deku tree was always going to be a challenge, and a test of imagination. The custom patterns took amateur me hours to do, and there was no way in hell I was doing more. What you see is what you get. After that, the forest interior was giving me death stares, so I tackled it next. One does not simply build an interior. The island cuffed me upside the head. This was the point I realized that everything would need to be carefully planned if I wanted to fit everything in. Custom designs to mark height and items, that kind of planning. This helped and was incredibly satisfying, but limited space reared its head again. So I did a Jason Voorhees. Everything except a couple of key areas was cut from the forest. The result is pretty cramped, but didn't turn out too bad. A nice trick I saw people doing to make a space feel populated was placing clothes to stand in for people. I thought that was pretty creative and adopted it. Unfortunately, it makes my spaces feel busy and cramped thanks to the extra details I cram in. Also needs to be said that shaking the elevated trees for items is like cussing townsfolk in a place run by 6-shooters. Eventually someone's going to answer, and you better be damn quick on the draw. The waterfall from Gerudo Valley and the fishing hole made Lake Hylia area interesting to design. I look forward to getting this area done because I wanted to see the musical scarecrows more than anything else. The large pillars sticking out of the lake had me scratching my noggin for a while too, trying to come up with a good solution. In the end, the best solution was kind of the simplest. I had a critical shortage of stone for a lot of this build. Stone archers require 3 full stacks of stone, which is insane. I had plenty of other stone items that needed crafting too. I would mine the island rocks, then go and visit other islands and mine them too, so I was pretty much a Goron for over a month. Those stone dog statues, they were the last items I placed because I had no stone for a very long time. The fishing pond is this awkward size that never really sat right with me. Any bigger and Lake Hylia looks comically small. Any smaller and fish don't spawn. I probably should have knocked down the wall to give people an easy view in too. I toyed with the idea of using real bridges to connect the islands, but they took up too much real estate. Shame you can't craft smaller ones or adjust the size of existing ones, Nintendo. I goofed on Gerudo Valley. I built the valley, the fortress, and even started planning the spirit temple before I remembered that Child Link doesn't visit the fortress and barely visits the spirit temple. Yep, I built the island based on the areas that Child Link visits. It's a damn good thing too, because I was dreading trying to cram everything into a small space. Although it's a shame to lose the archery range. And the fortress, I suppose. Balls only know how that would work in New Horizons. Maybe an island themed around just the Gerudo Fortress? Okay, this area was far too much fun. The only conceivable way to have even more fun would be to swallow a box of thumbtacks, then chug an entire bottle of Miralax. The market feels really dense thanks to the clothes standing in for people. Navigating it's awkward and clumsy. I feel like that one guy politely shouldering through a crowd while suppressing the urge to spear tackle everyone. It would have been amazing to be able to purchase or build other buildings that you could fully decorate. Nintendo. This area would become so much more alive and serviceable if it had the dog lady, bomb tube bowling alley, target shooting, and the mask shop. I'm a little happier with the castle grounds. Everything is packed pretty tight and the orientation is all wrong, but you work with what you've got. Desperation breeds action, I guess. I don't know, the whole area feels like a cramped child's diorama, but when I view it that way, it's kind of more palatable. Designing the castle frontage was interesting. I knew the moment I saw a silo that it would make a perfect spire, but figuring out a space-savvy solution for the walls was trickier. I like the way the fence worked out, it looks authentic to the source material. Actually, the castle grounds are probably the most authentic looking area behind Kakariko Village. I had to condense the castle gardens. Shrubs, custom design for the path, nothing special there, all leading to Zelda who is patiently waiting for us. The great thing about having stuff packed so densely like this is that you rarely have to worry about weeds. I would have loved to recreate the castle gardens completely, but the king sold the rest of the grounds to a Deku scrub, who turned them into a day spa for skull kids. Ever seen a clean skull kid? Your soul is not prepared. Hey, drop a comment, let me know what you think of these areas. I could have made them better with more effort, but round one was exhausting, and there are more themes to explore, and get off my back, Navi, I've worked hard. Can I rest already? Why should I?
Hey, listen.
No! On with the tour. What can I really say about Hyrule Field? I remember the area to the left of the castle entrance distinctly from Ocarina of Time. The rest of Hyrule Field is like this too, though. How are you supposed to fit a line of trees down there? Set a bomb off here and it would take out the neighbouring houses in Hyrule Market. I doubt there's a single Ocarina of Time fan out there that doesn't look back on Lon Lon Ranch fondly. Horses, bottles, milk, not in that order unless you're a weirdo. I gave this area a lot of love and it was fun to design. The roof tiles on the shed are the wrong colour. Yes, I know. They're reused. And the horsies rock. It's as much as I could manage. I would have made the area larger if the Nook Crook would have let me move the town hall. And why don't we get any decent wooden arches? Not the nuts and berries arch, I mean a real arch. Kakariko Village could have been larger, and filled with awesome. Maybe I should have made an island themed exclusively on Kakariko Village. Whose house would get the honour of being the House of Sculptures, or the Witch Who Sold Potions? Comment if you know any good candidates. Okay, no joking this time, the graveyard is my absolute favourite. I look forward to planning and building this area and had to resist the urge to jump ahead, that's how cool this was. This is hands down one of the best places in Ocarina of Time. Unfortunately, all my stone went to Arches for the Lost Woods. I had no stones. Which meant I was crafting tombstones at the rate of 1 per natural life cycle. Random thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to fly to islands that have an increased drop for stone or iron? Sure, you can get lucky with RNG islands. I'm talking about dedicated quarry islands that you can pay to visit. Or something. Treasure map bottles would be cool too, give you a reason to fly to RNG islands again. And while we're at it, something meaningful to do with duplicate recipes. Like, say, 3 of the same recipe allow you to craft a rare version or unique variant of that item. I don't know. I'm just a dude with far too much time. Death Mountain was always going to be a non-area. I only ever planned to include the volcano of the Death Mountain region, but there was just enough room that using it all for a volcano felt kinda cheap. So I stuck a flag in the ground, threw some rocks down, a few piles of burning leaves. The place was like home. For a bunch of rock-eating, nail-spitting, fire-dancing, bomb-throwing, bronze bodybuilder brothers. Are there lights that shine right up into the sky? floor lights don't cut it. I wanted the volcano to blaze at night. But with the floor lights, it's more like a wet fart. Disappointing and vaguely offensive. I don't like the entrance to Zora River. It's long and skinny and I don't like it. It feels like a long road to nowhere, but it is necessary so that you can have the cool stuff on the other side. Check out the singing frogs. I couldn't get the frog hats to sit on the logs. Looks very C-grade, but I was getting frustrated with them. CBF may have been involved. Zora River and Domain were always going to be multi-level. Planning this area was interesting, especially when the scorpion spawned while I was leveling the place, which took ages by the way. Flattening and raising terrain large scale, costs hours, and brain cells. You can tell by the nasty custom water design that I'd pretty much given up at this point. Shame too, because this area above all the others had the potential to be truly beautiful. A larger-than-life shark would have helped the set, but none of the local politicians were available, and the emptiness gave the place a comfy zen feel, so I left it open. I mean, look at this place. There's barely enough room for a single waterfall, let alone the grotto that makes Zora's Domain so iconic. You could argue that I could have shrunk the river section to make more room, but you could also not argue. An entire island dedicated to this area would have been much more impressive. You could add a lot more detail, lots of fan service, little nods to the game and characters. It's hard to fit much into a small space and still have it look like the source material. Eventually you have to compromise structure, recognizable features. Hell, if you guys recognize even half the areas that I've included on this island, I would consider that a win. Finally, we move on to my messy house. The mess is real, people. The mess is real. The recipes on the floor only scratch the surface. I've collected so many more since this footage was recorded. The original vision was to have each room represent an interesting indoor area from Ocarina of Time. Fans might immediately recognize the theme. Yep, this is Dampé's room. Not a perfect replica of his hut, more an approximation with a dollop of fan service. I was pretty happy with the way this turned out though. I wonder if they'll add readable pages or books now that you can upload your island to the cloud to be explored by others. The mask seller had a funding issue and couldn't afford the rest of his shop. He sold most of his stuff, but the precious masks he couldn't bear to lose. Rather than see them sold into the hands of some random young blondie in a green tunic, he entrusted them to me. Silly guy. This room was going to be the lab at Lake Hyrule. As you can see, I turned it into a turnip aging facility where I'll produce my aged turnip wine, sell it, and control the world through my hyper-mega turnip wine corporation. The masses will become addicted to this divine substance, enslaved by its godly nature. The nooks will be supplanted by my awesomeness, and the local villagers will bow to me. The market's there. You'll see. So there you have it, my Hyrule. Sharp viewers might have noticed the sculptures and hearts throughout the island. I had originally intended to open the island to visitors and allow them to explore and try to find all the sculptures and hearts. How many did you spot? Sharp eyes will spot the ones I revealed, but only Ocarina fans will know the true count. If you enjoyed the video, then thumb the sky and drop me a comment. Let me know you want to see more Blondie. Ring the ding-a-ling so that you're notified when I upload. It helps. Hyrule might be gone, but I have one more theme to explore, which I'll feature in an upcoming series of videos. Completely different style, very digestible, though it may induce heartburn. Until then...